to the Constitution. People can read that Second Amendment and bend it, twist it, and turn it so that it's convenient for them and what they believe in. That's assimilation. When I was in Kansas, I was chair of the broadcasting department. We had a young guy who was about to flunk out of the broadcasting program. He was about to flunk out of school. He had missed a lot of classes, bombed his test because he hadn't been in class, and he had missed a couple of shifts at the radio station, which he didn't do. I mean, that was part of what your expectations were. So as chair of the program, I had to call this guy in and give him the talk, you know, before he's kicked out. We have to have a conference and everything. And I called him into my office. He walks in, and we close the door. He sits down, and I said, look, you know, you could be one of the best broadcasters that we have in this program, but you've really dropped the ball. You've done this, 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 and this. If you don't straighten out here pretty quick, you're going to be bounced out of the program. You'll be dropped out of the program. And we went through, and I made a list for him of 5 or 6 specific things that he had to do to stay in the program. We talked for maybe a half an hour, probably pretty close to half an hour. When we were done with the conference, when we were done with the talk, he gets up and goes out of my office, pulls the door closed behind him. And I got up and opened the door back up. I didn't want my office door closed and sit down. He goes around the corner of the hallway and into the next door, into the radio station where one of the students is working on the computer. And I hear that student say to the guy that just left my office, hey, what did John say to you? What did John want? And the student that just left my office said, John told me I could be the best broadcaster in this program. Is that leveling, sharpening, or assimilation? What did that student do? Sharpening. Did those words come out of my mouth? Yeah, I said those words. And I'm sure when he got home, that's what he told mom and dad on the phone that night. Did he leave out a lot? Yeah. Did he focus on only one part of the message, a very, very small part of the message? Absolutely. These three are not independent of one another. Very often, we will use leveling and sharpening in order to assimilate a message, to twist that message so that mom and dad don't get mad at us, so that we can show off for our friends, so that it will communicate what we want to communicate. We will use leveling and sharpening very often to assimilate a message. These are very important vocabulary terms. They're going to be on the matching, they'll be in the fill in the blank. You need to know to be able to tell them apart. Leveling is shortening, it's editing. Sharpening is highlighting or emphasizing just a part, and assimilation is interpreting the message, bending and twisting and turning it into what we want it to be. Okay, number 10, the last one. Now this is the barrier. This is the negative behavior. It's ignoring mixed messages. Do you remember last chapter I used the term mixed message? Do you remember what it was? What a mixed message is? I said it last chapter. A mixed message is sometimes called a contradictory message. A contradictory message or a conflicting message. They all mean the same thing, and textbooks will use them interchangeably back and forth. A mixed message, a contradictory message, a conflicting message. The negative behavior is ignoring the mixed message. Your book says an effective listener never ignores a mixed message. The definition of a mixed message or a contradictory message, a conflicting message, is when the nonverbal contradicts the verbal. Remember when we said that last chapter? When you're saying one thing, but doing something else. Remember that? Which do we tend to believe? Which is most trustworthy? Nonverbal. We tend to trust, we tend to believe the nonverbal. So a mixed message is when the nonverbal contradicts the verbal. contradicts the verbal. You're saying one thing, but you're doing something else. You're saying one thing, but you're doing something else. Your book says the effective listener never ignores a mixed message. An effective listener will always confront the mixed message. They bring it to the person's attention. They ask questions about it. Wait a minute, you're saying this, but then you go and do that. I don't understand. Which is it? You confront it. You ask questions. You ask for clarification. The effective listener never ignores a mixed message. The effective listener will always confront the mixed message and ask for clarification. They'll nail the speaker down. Whoa, wait a minute. You're saying this, but then you go and do that. I'm not sure what's going on, what you're telling me. Those are the 10 barriers or obstacles to effective listening. 10 barriers or obstacles. We are almost done. Let's take a 10-minute break and I'll finish up this chapter. Come back at 11. We're almost done.